Hey everyone, it's your favorite missionary in Argentina. So I haven't been video blogging a lot, so I felt that I might as well step back in and just kind of give a hey, especially around the Christmas time, right? I know what y'all probably thinking. Nick, how did you lose your voice? Because you sound like crud. Let me tell you, we had a lot going on and it was worth it. But I know a lot of you are probably thinking, how does Argentina celebrate Christmas? What is the big differences? What have you been doing here? I've been trying to put a few blogs up every now and then on what's been going on around me, and I'm trying to write a little bit more about the church. Sometimes it's hard because there's so many great things and you're just kind of confused as to which one you want to write about. But today we're just gonna go over a few things. So as many of you know, I'm from New York and I'm used to having white Christmas, cold Christmas, maybe lukewarm Christmas, depending on global warming that year. This year I've had a hot Christmas and that was crazy. It's unreal to me. It doesn't feel like Christmas. Actually, this whole month has been very difficult because I just feel like I'm here. Like I don't feel like this is Advent or Navidad, and everything I'm preaching is like, I don't know. I'm so mixed up. But let me tell you how St. Lucas has been doing things. So we'll get started with Taller de Navidad. Taller de Navidad is School of Christmas or Christmas school. It's a lot like day camps in the States, except they're only on Saturdays for about 3 hours, and we do them in the afternoon because it's a little cooler than in the morning. We'll do them for the 3 Saturdays of Advent, and then the last week, right before Christmas, we do every single day during the week. That's when their school system ends. They end in December, where we end in May or June. So it's a little strange to know that like kids are just done and they're gonna go on vacation and stuff. That's a different story. I've been very challenged the past month because I am so unaccustomed to how they do it here, and oftentimes I felt like dead weight. I felt like, I wasn't really contributing. That I didn't know how to contribute. I didn't know what they wanted me to do. I didn't know how to work with I know how to work with kids. Let me stop lying to y'all. And that was probably the only thing I could really do successfully, where it was like, oh, Nick, we gotta entertain the kids for a while. Okay, let's go, let's hang out. And granted, my Spanish has been getting better, but not better enough to really run kids, Sin embargo, it's been cool. So I lost my voice by singing this one song, and I learned it in 2004. I was about 12 years old, and it was my first time working at a day camp, and my pastor at the time was from the New England Synod, and he used to go to Calumet all the time. And so he taught us this song, and it goes, "Ooh, Kaleala," and we would repeat it. He'd say, "Paratiki tamba, maza maza maza, ooh ah ah we ah." And you would start very, very softly, and you would work it up and work it up and work it up. Next thing you know, your head explodes because you're saying it so loud. I've had a wonderful time doing that, and they enjoyed it so much, so losing my voice has been completely worth it. So this year, Noche Buena, or Christmas Eve, was on a Saturday. So that Friday, we did like a Christmas play, but it was literally just a telling of Jesus and the manger and Mary and Joseph and the angels, and I was trying to name every single one of them. I don't know why I did that. And so they get together and they do this, and we sing these new Christmas songs. And I love the new Christmas songs, by the way. There's one, they say like barito, burrito, because it's like Jesus wrapped up, but it's not a real burrito, but I thought it was a real burrito at first. Yeah, si me ven, voy camino de Belén. It's great. Anyway, so I had a great time watching them, and it was really, really fruitful. Here, something I've noticed is that, people are really good with using their resources and what we have. Earlier, I don't know if you guys remember this, but in October, I was cleaning out the youth room and I saw all these old little toys and objects, and I was trying to throw them out. And one of the youth kept saying, "No, Nick, no puedes, no puedes." Porque we're using them for camp, en campo, en campamento. And I'm like, can we just get new stuff? Like, could we just recreate these things? And no, it's what we have, it's what we use. But of course, that was the American capitalist consumer, we can just buy new things. Now I'm coming out of me. So I'm thankful we did it, because I got to see how a lot of the stuff that was in the youth room came to life, and it made sense. It took literally the whole month, but it made sense. And I was very fortunate and humbled by that, because I was over here trying to throw everything out. Yeah, it was kind of horrible. The next day I preached for Nochebuena, and I preached on Syria. Like many pastors, I asked on Facebook who was preaching on Syria, and a good amount of people said yes I am. And I asked that because, oftentimes when we are combating, politics and conservative viewpoints around refugees, immigration, around women's rights, and blah, 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 we oftentimes reference the meaning of justice that we find in the Bible. And I'm always curious as to who's actually going to preach that on a Sunday, especially when it comes to, being Christmas. Christmas is a time where everyone wants to feel really special and pretty. And I'm not really good at making people feel special nor pretty, so it is what it is. But, I'm gonna post my sermon, but the whole message of it though was just to remember the other part of Christmas, to remember the darkness. There was a really good post I did see though that was about, put King Herod back in Christmas, not just Jesus. Because if we forget how dark that time was, if we forget how dark the situation really was, you had a pregnant woman on a mule traveling for miles just so she could register under a friggin' empire. Like, excuse me. We can't forget, feeling the feelings of abandonment, the location where they come from, being from Nazareth, and being not a wealthy family. The shepherds being there, representing the lowest of low. Who comes to greet the newborn baby? Your poor people. Like, we can't forget that, King Herod said, everyone under 2 years old, all these boys under 2, they gotta go. We gotta kill them. And you can't not relate that to what happens, abroad, or what happens in our own country, to be honest. But what has happened abroad, especially with the massacre of how many children in Aleppo, you're literally watching the modern day Christmas story. And I think we tend to forget that a lot. And I just felt that was important to share. And I know a lot of people did it a little differently, and they told their story the way they felt inclined to. So I'm glad we did that in solidarity, by the way. Go pastors. But, there's only 8 people at church, because here, being with your family is more important than being at church. So that's kind of dope, kind of sucked. Hey, I was there. But after we had Christmas Eve service, I went to my supervisor's family's house to celebrate Christmas Eve together. And it was weird. It was weird. Not the family, not Christmas Eve, but it was unreal. I felt like I was in a fantasy world. The fact that no one was at Christmas Eve service. We hopped on this train to go to her house, and I kept saying to her, this is unreal. It doesn't feel like Christmas. And she's like, oh, is it because your family's not here? Oh, is it because of the weather? It's all of that. It hasn't felt like Christmas. I say that in the spiritual sense, even to myself, I haven't felt like I've been preparing for the coming of who I understand to be the savior of the world, right? And that was kind of a very weird experience. But we're on the train and it's warm. I'm in a skirt. We had dinner outside. We had all these foods that I never ate before, especially for Christmas. And there was, little grandkids running around, and we're laughing and chatting in Spanish. And finally it hit midnight, and then we lit off fireworks. And the whole neighborhood was filled with fireworks. It was just, it was beautiful. It was gorgeous. The only time I see fireworks is, 4th of July. And I couldn't help but think what a luxury it was to be in a country where you can light off fireworks and know that they're fireworks. After preaching and talking and praying on and thinking about countries such as Syria, where people get airstrike, on a regular basis, or when you look up at the sky and you see, just your enemies flying over you. Sometimes you can't even look up at the sky. And I was kind of moved by that. Because part of my sermon, I said, we want to equal Christmas. It was one of the Christmas songs I learned, which was awesome. But we want to equal Christmas. And I couldn't help but wonder what everyone else was seeing on Christmas Eve at midnight, looking up at the sky. Did you see stars? Did you see fireworks? Did you even get to see a sky? Could you see? Who else was looking up at the sky on Christmas Eve? And now don't get me wrong, because I recognize that Syria in particular is not necessarily a Christian nation. And there's plenty of nations that are not, Christian, that are going through war and whatnot, and they may not see Christmas the same way that we see Christmas, and that's totally fine. But just the idea that there's a group of people in the world celebrating peace and tranquility and health and family, and there's another side of the world that may never see their family again. That's a crazy Christmas story. How do we celebrate the Prince of Peace, knowing that there's not peace? What does the promise mean? Yeah, so that was something that I kind of struggled with a little bit on Christmas Eve, looking up at the sky. It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. And it was unreal. It just didn't feel like Christmas. And then I ended up falling asleep at my supervisor's house because of the way the trains work. I couldn't get back home. And the next day it was raining. It was raining on Christmas. And it was like reality hit. Right? Before I was in this dream world. And reality hit me. It is raining. I am soaked. I'm traveling back home. So I can sit in bed with, my dog and my cat.
Trapping through the snow, selling 9 heifer bricks in 4 ways. Over the hills we go, getting a stendo and an AK. My neighborhood philanthropist, I'm selling.
And maybe drink some hot coffee because I don't have chocolate. And I would be alone, at least for a few hours, right? And I think for a second I forgot what it felt like to be alone for a holiday, or to be alone as you're prepping, for things, to just be in a house of silence with just rain. It hit me that I was not with my family. The rain came down, and it reminded me that this was a year that I would not get to hug my mom and my dad and my sister. Try on doggy clothes with my animals and whatnot. I don't know how many of you guys have had a holiday without your family. And I don't know how many of you, complain or, talk about those little annoying things that happen. And I was like, I wish I could hear the way my grandaunt chews her food. I wish I could be around when we all make the argument about opening one gift on Christmas Eve, and then we say, we never open one gift on Christmas Eve. No, we always open a gift on Christmas Eve. But I miss that so much for a moment. Luckily, I was picked up by some people in the community, some of my friends that I've had here, and I got to celebrate the rest of my Christmas day with them. And we played board games and we ate food and we went to the hospital. Someone broke their foot, and that was great. And that felt like family for a second. And I appreciated that so much. It was a really wonderful experience to be able to enjoy family the way I enjoy my family that evening. We're about to go into the summer season, and I get to explore a little bit more of the country and to kind of prepare for the rest of this year. I feel like this was like a dip in the water, and now I can better accompany the church that I was asked to serve with. So it's been cool. So yeah, that was my Christmas. That was how we've been prepping and doing all the things. So thanks for watching.